Heartbreaking betrayal is one of the most excruciating pains that you're going to deal with. It will leave you feeling helpless, hopeless, worthless, as if you don't matter. One of the things that we deal with is asking God to give us vindication for our broken heart, for the betrayal. A lot of times it feels like the person who caused the damage or the people, it seems as if they're going to move on and live their life and never have to answer to that. But I do want you to know that everyone will have to answer. Everyone will have to pay the debt. Come on now. God will deal with it. But I want to speak to you about the healing hearts. Come on now. Catch them diamonds. The healing hearts. God wants you to surrender to healing. Come on. And I'm going to tell you why it's so important for you to heal. Because sometimes when we're hurt, we continue to rehearse our pain, causing us not to be able to move forward in life. But it's so dangerous to sit here, because everything you touch in your future, you could contaminate it because your heart is not healed. Come on now. Come on now. I do have something to tell you. God wants to bring you from a victim to being victorious. Come on now. Catch them diamonds. Victorious. It is time. Because I will tell you, eventually, the people who caused the pain, they will pay their debt, but then they will be able to go free. Meaning God is not going to hold them there because of their mistakes and their wrongdoing. So this is why it's important for you to heal. Because what are you going to do when God released them after they paid their debt? They have learned their lesson, but yet you're still rehearsing your pain, not being able to move forward. Come on now. At this point, you're holding yourself hostage. Why would you continue to hold yourself hostage for a person who wasn't even right in the first place? You see what I'm saying? See, sometimes some of these people don't ever change, right? So why would you continue to punish yourself? Come on now. There is new life for you on the other side. God will deal with the details. Sometimes we may feel like if we let it go, if we don't keep petitioning to God about the betrayal, that maybe God is going to forget and let him get away with it. But you don't have to keep coming back and back to God. He knows everything. And God has a way of making everything work together for your good. Come on now. Sometimes we keep on petitioning to God about our broken heart because God, if I stop talking about it, if I stop crying about it, then maybe you're going to forget about what they did. God is not going to forget. God wants you to come into a place of a healing heart. Come on now. A healing heart. From a victim to being a victor. Come on now. It is time. Because what are you going to do when the person who hurt you move on? Then you're going to put yourself in a position where you have front row seats to watch them move on. Come on now. Nobody talks about the dangers of a broken heart and staying too long. If you just had a broken heart recently, I understand that it takes time to heal. Feel what you feel. Take that matter to God. But sooner or later, come on now, you got to surrender to a healing heart. Because it is time for you to move forward in life. Because there is more for you in life. Come on now. See, God is not going to hold them there forever. You got to understand that. That's the hard part to fathom. The person who caused me so much pain, you mean to tell me they get to go on and live? Yes, they do. The same way you get to go on and live too. Yes. That's why it is so important to release yourself into a healing heart. Come on now. This is why it's so important for you to stop being a victim and become a victor. Become victorious. Catch them diamonds now. The last thing that you should want is for them to look back up in life and see you still sitting in the same hurt. Come on now. You're giving them way too much power. Use it for yourself and become victorious. Listen, I went through my own heartbreak and betrayal. But what I learned that time around was once I released them, it released me. Come on now. This is how I was able to walk into everything that God had for me. There was life on the other side, and I mean good life. You hear me? When you hear me on these videos, where do you think that passion comes from? Come on now. It comes from somebody who was heartbroken. It comes from somebody who was rejected. Come on now. It comes from a woman who sat with God. Allowed God to correct me and also deal with the adversities around me. Come on now. This is why a healing heart is so important. Because on the other side, you don't know what God has for you and who God has for you. Come on now. I'm telling you from true experience. Surrendering into a place of a healing heart. You're not holding them, you're holding you. And once I figured that out, I said, I no longer want to hold myself hostage. I no longer want to rehearse pain of all the people who have wronged me. It's time that I use this pain for power. You see what I'm saying? And if you allow God to do that in your life, He will. You will no longer be a victim, but God will make you victorious. Catch them diamonds.